Hey guys, it's Melissa Snow here. I'm back and I'm going on my part 2 of my ghost experiences. Well, today we're going to be talking about my flashlight thingies that I see. I don't know what to call them. That's what I call them, the flashy light thingies. So I could be sitting here and I'm just gonna jump right into this story. I could just be sitting here and I see a flash above me or beside me. It's never in front of me. Sometimes it is, but I see it from the top right or the bottom or on the side or down below or anywhere else. There's a couple of times that I've seen them like just appear in front of me and fizzle out, or just stay there and just disappear. And so with that, I call them my angels. I don't know why. I just feel like my angels or my spirit guides are coming through and checking on me, and thank you. I don't know what it is. But anyway, that's what I see. And I've seen that for the longest time in my life, and I cannot tell you when it started. There was one time, I think I said this in the other story, but I don't know if I did, that I went to my friend's house and we went for a walk and went to the school, and I was talking to her and I was just looking at her like, yeah, listening to what you're saying, and I was like, what is that? She's like looking at me like, why are you looking at me like that? And I said, I don't want to scare you, but you have a ghost orb behind your head. And it just came out and fizzled out. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to scare you, but I just saw that. It just came out from behind your head and went to the left and right, back over to the right side. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. She's like, you're scaring me. I don't want to talk about this anymore. And then I was gonna tell her I see things like that, but I didn't. And then she just got scared because I said that. So I saw that ghost orb. And then one time I was sitting in my living room and I happened to look over because I saw a light, like a flashy light, and then it just stayed there. And it just hovered there. And I was like, what is going on? I said that out loud to myself. And so I just watched this thing go like this and then go like that. Like, I was like, what is this? And then I just like, whatever. And then whenever I would film in my old apartment, I would see like ghost light orbs on the film the video that I was filming. And so I was like, what is that? And I would send it to people and they would make fun of me, and I was like, why are you making fun of me? This is real. Like, I'm not lying, it's real. So there's a couple of times I've taken pictures and there was light in there. When I first moved into my old apartment, when I was taking pictures around the apartment, I saw in the picture that there was this ball of light, and I was like, why is that in every other picture that I'm taking? And so, I just kept looking at the pictures, and there's a really scary picture if I can find. I took a picture of my cat, and it looks like there's a demon creature on top and he's on the bottom with his eyes glowing. And I sent it to my friend and I was like, what is this? Look at this. And she's like, whoa, that's scary. So if I can find that picture, if I can, that's all I have to say for it. But if I can, I'll show it to you guys. And then, so there's that. And one time we went out camping. We were in Montana, and we ended up going to this campsite And the guy there was like, yeah, there's only 2 or 3 people here, and I just want to warn you about the cougars and whatever. So that freaked me out. So when we got there, we ended up going to the lake and swimming, and by the time we got back, the guy set up our tent. I was kind of pissed that he did that, but I was like, whatever. It was nice of him. So come later on, we're sitting there and we start a fire, and I happen to look over and I see this dog dart into the camp spot, and I was like, oh my God! And my friend's like, what? And I said, did you just see that? That was a dog! And she's like, what are you talking about? There was no dog. I swear to God, I saw this dog come into the camp spot and just like dart in there and come at me and then turn around and leave. So I was like, I need to go see if there's anybody in the next camp. There was nobody in the next camp for a while when we were there. They were by the river, and they didn't have a dog. And so we were out. That's my story. I know my stories are random, but that's how I remember things, like randomly. So sorry if they like come out as little randomly strange. One time, I went to my sister's house with my mom because it was Mother's Day, and then after I was like, let's go to the graveyard. This is the funniest story ever. Let's go to the graveyard. So we go to the graveyard, and I start taking pictures. My mom's like, I don't want to be here. Those people are going to get mad at us in that house. It was like a rundown shack in the middle of the graveyard, and nobody lived there. And she's like, that guy right there is going to get mad at us. I said, what guy are you looking at? I said, there's no guy there. We were the only ones in this grave site, because nobody's gonna go on Mother's Day unless their mom passed away or anything. And I was like, okay, let's take some pictures. And the sun's going down, so we're like there right when the sun's going down. So I take all these pictures and I snap pictures, and I don't look at them until, like, most of them until I get home. But there was a couple of them I looked at, and I was like, oh my God! My mom's like, what? And I showed her the picture, and she's like, there's nothing there, and I started laughing. And then the next picture I took, there was so many ghost orbs in this picture, and a couple of them had like baby looking faces in them. And then I showed her and she's like, let's leave, I'm scared, I don't want to be here anymore. So there's that story. There's that story. It was actually pretty funny because my mom is funny when she gets scared. So that happened with that story. And and then trying to figure out anything else that I've experienced. One time I was over in Portland and I was visiting a friend, and we were going to where the cheese, the Tillamook cheese, right? And I think that's what is. It's Tillamook, Oregon, I think. And I was like, hey, let's stop. Let's stop at this random, like, a hole in the ground and nobody goes to, but passes through, and no one stops to look at it, and there's bikes that go through this place, and it was a tunnel, and I liked the tunnel, so I stopped to look at the tunnel. As we were walking, I look up and I was like, what is that thing? And she's like, I don't know, but it's sitting there on the tree stump. It looked like Bigfoot. I'm not freaking kidding you. I have pictures of that too somewhere in here. And I was like, okay, that looks like an orangutan, and we're in Oregon, and there's no orangutans around here. And she's like, I know, I see it too. It's really weird, isn't it? And this is not the same friend as my one I was telling you about the other time. So we started taking pictures of this this tunnel, and it's so cool. And then when we came back, we were there for like maybe 15-20 minutes. And then we came back and I looked up and I was like, where did that thing go? And I looked over at her and it just started getting really weird. I looked over at her. I was like, that thing that we saw is gone. She's like, I know, I didn't want to say anything. And I was like, why didn't you say anything when you walked over here by yourself? And she's like, it scared the crap out of me. I didn't want to stay there. Oh my God, it was funny. And so, yeah, we saw a Bigfoot or a monkey type thing. I don't know, orangutan. It looked like a freaking orangutan. I'm not even joking you. It was brown and hairy like an orangutan. It was not the trees. It was just sitting, like leaning against the tree. And then when we came back, it was gone. And this is famous for like Bigfoots over there and everything. And, yeah, there's that story with that friend. And the next story, this is a weird story too. So we go over to the Bridges of God over in Portland, and this is a different friend that I have. Oh man, I'm just thinking about stuff that I've experienced, but it's crazy, like the things that people experience, and you don't even know that they're experiencing them until they tell you this stuff. So we go over to Washington State on the side of the Bridges of God. We're not on the Portland side or the Oregon side, or whatever you want to call it. We're on the Washington State side, so we could stay free, because if you live in Portland, you had to pay. If you lived in Washington, you didn't have to pay. So we went on that side. We're the only ones at this campsite. I have my dog. I don't have this dog anymore. I have my dog, and my friend and I get there and we set up camp and everything. And so we take the dog down to the river because she is hungry, and we feed her and give her some water. And all of a sudden she like looks over and she's like, "Grrr," at nothing. She's doing that at nothing in the river area where we're at. And I'm like, what is she doing that for? She's trying to drag me over to the other side of the river, but I'm not going because I don't know this river, and I don't know how deep it is and how fast it's going underneath the current, you know? So, 1 second. All right, I'm back. So, back to the story on my dog doing that. So we decided to go back to where the campsite was. And then we see a couple of people with another dog and everything. But these guys just got there. They weren't there when we were doing this. And when I cut, I heard my name. I heard, Melissa. I hear weird things like, hey, Melissa. Or something like that. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm sure there's other people that hear these things. It's like out of the blue. So if you hear anything like that when we're talking, I'm by myself with my cats. So you might be hearing my cats or my fan going in the background. But anyway, we see these two people, this couple that had another dog, and they just got there. So my dog was trying to check them out, but we had to go back to the campsite. So we get to the campsite. It's really hot because it gets really hot over here, like 109, 6 degrees, maybe 111 where I'm at. Sometimes it doesn't even get that hot over here. And this is the state of Washington, not like the other Washington. This is the Washington state, like Spokane, Portland area, where Tacoma, Washington is, because those towns are like really close to each other, or cities are close to each other, and or in Bellingham, or like all that stuff. So we're over in the Bridges of Gods on the Washington side, and we see that couple, right? And then we go back to our campsite. And so we're starting the fire. We're not really feeling being there because we were tired and we didn't want to be there anymore. And By the time night fell, my friend's like, I just don't want to be here anymore. I want to go home. So we almost did go home. But all of a sudden, we were by ourselves in this campsite, and all of a sudden we see these people come. And we were kind of sketched out by it. And my dog, remember there's a dog with us. And so we started seeing this weird stuff flashing in the light, little like in lights of flashing up in the sky. And this area has weird stuff happen to it anyway, and we're planning on going back to this area and maybe filming or doing something like that. Who knows? I don't know if we will or not, but we see these flashing lights. Like, it's like someone has a drone, but there's a flashlight on the drone and going through the trees. She's super tired and she's trying to sleep, so we end up freaking out because we keep seeing that. And we get in the car and we spend the night in the car. But all of a sudden we hear, ooh, 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 ooh. I don't know if it was like a owl or it was super loud. Like it was in my our ears or whatever. And you hear this, oh, 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 like that. And I thought it was an owl. But all of a sudden my dog goes, brrr, and tries to get out of the car and go where it heard this noise. So, and it's hot. I don't want my dog in the car, and I don't want her outside the car because then we're not in that area. And this is the first time I ever went camping with this dog, so it's stressful when you bring an animal camping with you unless you actually want it to be there, you know? So, that happened, and I stayed up all night because I was freaking out. I saw lights in the trees, in the sky, and she's like, I feel weird, I don't want to be here. And I was like, I feel weird too. And then when those people came, it just like the total like atmosphere changed. And you could see their campsite, but they're, like I said, they're like way farther, but you can see them. Okay. And then, so that was one of our stories. And I'm trying to think, is there another story, a couple stories that are weird that I can tell? Let me think on that. I'll be right back. All right. So that's a couple of stories that I've experienced. And there's other stories that when I'm with my friend, she's like, oh yeah, do you remember this? I'm like, yeah, so you're going to have to come on here and talk with me about our paranormal experiences because I can do that now on here. And I'm learning, and I'm brand new to this guy, so just wait. There's going to be better things to come. I'm going to talk about some stories that I've learned about that are crazy. I don't even know like why people even do this. If you think there's people out there, like think of your most craziest thoughts that you've ever experienced. Someone has done it. Someone has said it. Someone has done it. Someone has thought it. Someone has done like the dumbest thing you can ever think of, or the scariest thing you ever think of, or whatever. This world is a big world out there, and they've done it. Like, you're like, oh, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. And then you look it up and someone's actually did it and you're like, what the heck? You're like, why? Why people do things like this? People are crazy. They do some crazy stuff sometimes. But on next time, we'll be talking about other things, maybe more of my paranormal experiences, and maybe have some other stories for you guys. And we're going to be going around filming and doing stuff, so I'll have other things for you. And I have a couple of things. We went to the Japanese garden. We're going to go to see this flower garden that's here in my state of Washington. and it's really cool, and it's one of the biggest attractions in the state of Washington where I live in my city. And we have a lot of places that I would like to go and film and then share with you on here. And maybe we'll go ghost hunting more than a couple of times, because there is a haunted park over here. Well, someone says it's haunted. And then we have a couple of mansions that are here. The Crosby Mansion, Bean Crosby Mansion is supposedly haunted, and he came here. And then we have a place called the Campbell House, and we have and they have tours. And anyway, we have a couple of places that we have the biggest graveyard in this state of Washington where I'm at, that I'm going to be going to a couple of times. I already go there I used to go there every weekend to visit my family's grave, and now I might have some stories about the gravesite for you guys. When I get there, I can tell you them. But anyway, we don't really have a lot of haunted attractions here. Like, we're not like a big place where like the Washoe Club or Sally House or the Villisca Axe Murder House, or we have to travel like outside of the state of Washington to even have that. Maybe Portland has some stuff like that, or maybe Seattle has stuff like that. And oh yes, over in Idaho there is a prison that it is haunted, and maybe we'll go there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I'm going to take this channel to. So, I don't know. There's Canada's over near us, like 3 hours away from here. And I don't know anything about Canada. I've been to Canada, but I'm going to have to look it up. Like, I'm going to have to look up some of these cool things. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff. Excuse my cat back there. She likes to be behind me and be the star of the show. You guys will probably see her. But anyway, thanks for joining me on my podcast. I am Melissa Snow, and it was good to see you guys again. Thank you, and have a great day and the rest of your week and month.